Now that you know what treats are, let me show you some of the ways that I use treats to help introduce the puppies to some of the basic obedience commands that we're going to be using throughout the training program and really throughout the rest of the puppy's life. Now, the first command that we're going to look at is heel. And basically, heel means we want the puppy to walk along by our side on a loose leash without being ahead of us, without being behind us, without pulling off to the side. And we just want the puppy to go for a nice, calm, relaxing walk. So here's how we introduce the puppy to the leash. And what you'll see is me holding a little piece of treat directly in front of the puppy's nose. And I'll give a little combination of pulling along the leash as well as enticing the puppy with the treat to get him to walk along. So what you're going to see are a few puppies that I've been working with here at the very beginning to introduce them to the leash and how to get them to walk along. Let's take a look.
Eventually, you're going to run into trouble, and the puppy's going to decide he doesn't want to go along with you. So, what you do is you want to keep moving forward as smoothly as possible. So, you'll see I'm giving a little bit of a tug on the leash, and then I take all the pressure off and I try and entice the puppy with the treat. I'm always wanting to move forward and keep the puppy's momentum going. I'll introduce the treat, I'll give a little tug, and then I'll immediately take the pressure off of the leash.
The next command that we're going to take a look at is the command sit. Most puppies get this one pretty quickly, so we should have a pretty easy time with this. What I like to do on the command sit is I'll take a treat and I'll hold it just above the puppy's nose to get his attention. And then once I see that he's focused on it, I will push that little treat up above his head, along his nose, and up along the back of his head going towards his tail. And what this does is it forces the puppy to look up, and in many cases they'll sit down to do that. So what you'll see here is a few different ways that I use that technique when I have puppies on leash and off of a leash to entice them to sit.
Sit. Good girl. That's a good girl.
Anytime your puppy's off leash or there's more than one puppy, things get much more difficult for you. But just keep your cool and stick with the program, and you can still teach two crazy jumping puppies to sit. So here you see me holding the treats out, asking them to sit. When they start jumping, I'm just pulling the treat back up. Eventually they'll get it if you keep your patience and you just hold your ground and wait for them to sit.
Puppy.
One of the more challenging things to teach any new puppy is how to lay down. Here, treats are very, very important. So what I do when I want to introduce the down command to a new puppy is I'll have them in the sit position, and I'll get their attention with the treat. I'll wave it right in front of their nose, and then once they're interested, I will take the treat and go directly straight down to the floor. Once the puppy goes down and starts licking the treat, I'll slowly start to pull it away from the puppy to get him to lay down. Once he lays down, I'll give him the treat and I'll give him lots of praise, and then we'll repeat the process over. You'll notice on some of the puppies, though, they don't lay down. So what you do after an extended period of time of attempting the puppy to go down on her own is you might have to gently place the puppy in the down position, give her the treat, lots of praise, and then you'll repeat that procedure over and over again until eventually the puppy will pick it up. But anyway, let's take a look at some new puppies that are first being introduced to the down command and how they react. Down.
Good puppy. Good puppy.
Down. Down.
Good girl. Good girl.
Down. Good girl. Good girl. Down.
Good. Puppy.
Down. 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 Down.
Good girl.
Let me show you now how I use treats to introduce the command come and also the command crate to a new puppy. And it's kind of the same thing. Basically, I want the puppy to come to me when I call it, whether it's to put him in the crate or to come inside. So what I do from the very beginning when I get a puppy is I'm always making a big production out of giving the puppy a treat. So when I go to give him a treat, I do all my little tricks to get a puppy excited. I talk in my little embarrassing high-pitched voice. I shake the bag of treats, and when I see that I have their attention, they're excited, I give them a treat, and then I turn and walk away. When I take them outside, I do the same thing. As I see the puppy's not paying attention to me, I will do my little embarrassing high-pitched voice, clap my hands, and I'll shake the bag of treats to get the puppy's attention. That usually will get the puppy running right at me. As I hold the treat out, I'll give him the treat, and as I see him coming, I will start to say the word come, come, come. What I want to do is associate that shaking bag with the word come and with the puppy getting a treat when he does come to me. So what you're going to see is a couple different examples of how I use that technique to get a puppy to come to me, and then how to get a puppy to come to me and go into his crate.
When I'm using a treat to get a dog to come to me, I like to have an ending to the whole routine. I want the puppy to come directly in front of me, and I want him to sit down, and I'll use the treat to maneuver him into that position. The other neat trick that I like is if a puppy's walking away from you, use a high-pitched voice, clap, and squat down. They seem to come to you immediately. And then once the puppy's committed to coming to you, then I stand up and I show him the treat and get him in the sit position.
Good puppy. Come, come. Sit. Good girl. Sit. Sit. Good. Come on. Well, now that we know how to introduce the puppy to the various basic obedience commands, you're probably wondering what's next. Well, now the fun stuff starts. I want you to take your own puppy, take some treats, and over the course of the next few days, I want you to work on introducing each one of those commands to your very own puppy. What you're doing now is putting in the foundation of all future training that we're going to do. So you really want to spend some time and make sure your puppy masters each one of these commands. Now, in the beginning, we're going to give treats just about every time the puppy performs that command. But as he starts to get good and you get a feeling that he really knows what he's doing, I want you to gradually start to substitute your own praise, affection, touching the puppy, good boy, lots of love and affection for the actual food treat. All right? So then we'll gradually wean the puppy off the treat so he's performing the command without the need for any treats at all. Good luck.